One trans activist posted this message yesterday, quote, "Kill Christ cucks, behead Christ cucks, roundhouse kick a Christ cuck into the concrete, slam dunk a Christ cuck baby into the trash can."
What? Okay, what's a cuck? That's my question. What is a cuck? Because if they're against cucks, then I need to look up cuck. What's that? Maybe I need to stop saying the word until I find out what it is. You all, welcome back. I'm Van, and we are all the LFR family. Thank you so much for clicking play. Hopefully you click that like button as well. And later on, when you have a moment, you go to LFRfamily.com and ask me about the Bang Bang Tea. But we got my man Tucker Carlson about to tell us some stuff. So let's see what he's talking about.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight we're having a lot of gun control debates this week. And it's possible you've heard an advocate for gun control say that in this country we have more firearms in civilian hands than we have civilian hands. And that is true, actually. The total American population is about 332 million people, and collectively they own more than 400 million firearms.
Wow. You know, some people own like 20. I know a couple of people. Shout out to Angel, one of the smallest, sweetest young ladies that follow our channel, that support our channel, one of the OGs of the channel, and she got over 20-some guns herself.
About half of all U.S. households have at least one gun at home, and many have much more than that. Plus, they have ammo, billions and billions of rounds of it.
Yeah.
Those are all real numbers, but they are hardly an argument for gun control. They're an argument, in fact, against it. Ask yourself, what would it require to confiscate all those guns and all that ammunition and turn the United States into a disarmed nation like Turkmenistan or North Korea?
And plus, if you outlaw all guns, guess who's going to be left with the guns? Outlaws. Some people don't care about that part.
Well, it would take a police state, and it would end in civil war. No sane person wants either one of those things, but thankfully, we don't need them. The fact that so many Americans have a firearm within reach but never commit violence tells you that guns are not the problem. Most people in this country can be trusted with an AR-15, just as we can be trusted with cars and light aircraft and electricity and baseball bats and insecticide and chainsaws and pruning shears and countless other objects that could easily double as weapons. On some level, all of us understand this. The problem is always the person, not the tool he uses to commit a crime.
That's right. That's absolutely the truth.
If you wanted to stop murder, you would focus on the people who are committing murder, not on the hundreds of millions of their neighbors who are not. You'd really want to know what motivated killers to kill. And the first thing you would do is study what murderers have in common with one another, how they were raised and where, their educational backgrounds, their genetic makeup, drug and alcohol use, their ideological and religious views, their sexual behavior, and probably a whole lot of other factors. You would study murderers, and you would do it with an open mind, as a scientist would. You would be serious about it because it matters. In the late 19th century, researchers finally decided that infection is spread by germs. And as a result of that conclusion, surgeons are now required to wash their hands before they cut you open. Everybody agrees that this is progress. But what if we had refused to learn how infection is spread? What if we just didn't want to know? Well, appendectomies would still be fatal, and we would be a backward, ridiculous, uncaring people.
I love the analogy, Tucker. That was actually a really good analogy. Really good analogy, because everybody understands germs. Everyone.
It's impossible even to imagine that. And yet, on the question of violent crime, of murder, it's very easy to imagine that because it's happening. Our leaders are determined not to know why people shoot each other, and they don't want us to know either.
Facts.
They're adamant that we do not ask questions about motive.
When you ask questions, that makes you an a-hole, apparently. When you ask too many questions, they find a way to shut you up, apparently. I'm sorry, allegedly.
It seems, for example, like an awful lot of mass shooters have taken prescription psychiatric drugs in the days before they opened fire and killed others. Have you noticed that? Maybe you have noticed that. Good luck saying it in public. You'll be shouted down immediately by someone with an advanced degree. How dare you criticize Big Pharma? What are you, a conspiracy nut? No, actually you're not. You're someone who cares about cause and effect. You're a rational person. The only conspiracy here is the one designed to prevent you from figuring out why mass shootings keep happening.
Facts.
Consider the killings that took place on Monday in Nashville. The killer was a 28-year-old female transgenderist who shot her way into a Christian elementary school and murdered 3 9-year-olds and 3 adults. Why did she do that? In a rational country, that is the very first question we would ask.
She did it because she was a bad person. She was a bad human being, period. That's it. No more qualms about it. Listen, she was just a bad person. Not even going to go into the health or mental health or any of that. Before we even get there, let's talk about the person. The person was a jerk. The person was a bad human being. If you're going to go anywhere where kids are with the intentions of hurting them, you are a bad effer. I'm not going to cuss. I was about to, because this story right here pisses me off every single time I listen to it, whenever I hear about it, whenever I even think about it. Because if you want to go kill somebody, kill yourself, period. Sorry to put that out there in the atmosphere, because I don't want anybody to do that to themselves. But if it crosses your mind and you had to choose between hurting a child and hurting yourself, I beg you to choose the latter.
In our country, it's the last question. In fact, often it's never asked at all. On those rare occasions when somebody finally manages to wonder out loud about motive, our leaders immediately start lying, which should tell you a lot. Here's the Attorney General of the United States yesterday.
I realize that the shooter is dead, but the shooter could have had collaborators. Do you plan on opening a hate crime investigation for the targeting of Christians?
The FBI and ATF are both on the scene, working with the local police. As of now, motive hasn't been identified, and the police chief said at his last press conference that they don't yet have reached a conclusion with respect to motive. We are certainly working full-time with them to try and determine what the motive is, and of course, motive is what determines whether it's a hate crime or not.
It's a hate crime. It's clearly a hate crime. And honestly, I can give a damn if it falls within like a certain folder where, okay, they're targeting Christians. So since they targeted Christians, it's a hate crime. No, they targeted kids. That's a hate crime. They targeted people because they wanted to kill people simply because they are hateful beings. They are hateful beings, so they got them guns and went to go kill people.
So here's what we just learned from Merrick Garland. The FBI, the ATF, and the Nashville police are all investigating these shootings. Yet more than 24 hours after they took place, none of those professional investigators can even guess as to why the shootings happened. Motive hasn't been identified, Garland told us. Really? You wonder how that could possibly be. Just before she opened fire, the Nashville shooter wrote these words to her best friend over Instagram, quote, "One day this will make more sense. I've left behind more than enough evidence." That evidence includes a written manifesto where the killer spells out exactly why she killed children. The FBI, the ATF, the Nashville police, and for that matter, Merrick Garland, all have access to that manifesto. And yet somehow the Attorney General informs us that a motive has not yet been identified. Well, he's lying.
He's clearly lying. And my question to you all, because y'all are thinkers, okay? Y'all aren't these damn sheep. Y'all are sheep. Y'all are sheep under the shepherd of God. That's the only type of sheep you are. You're not the type of people who just do anything without thinking, though. All right. What does this benefit them to lie about this? What, just in honest, I really want to know that. Why are they lying about it? Why don't they just say what it is? Will it make them look bad? Why will it make them look bad? Really? Is that one of their daughters, one of their nieces? What's going on? It's because the trans community is saying, yo, protect our people. Maybe it's that.
They all are lying. We can't see the manifesto because the transgender lobby, which has far more power than you do, has pressured politicians to keep it hidden.
That's what it was. It was the latter. It was the trans. Oh my gosh.
But we can be certain what it says. Monday's victims were murdered because they were Christians. It's that simple. Transgenderists hate Christians above all, not because Christians are a physical threat, The third graders were not a physical threat, but because Christians refuse to join every other liar in our society and proclaim that transgenderists are gods with the power to change nature itself. Christians are not allowed to say that. They have their own God. And for that refusal, that unwillingness to bow down and worship a false idol, in this case of transgenderism, they were murdered. We have never seen this battle so starkly set as it is now. And it opens to us, to our eyes, the main divide in America.
I get it now. God dang it, I get it. I see why they will lie. They're lying because the whole trans movement is an attack on Christianity. Yeah, I said it. The whole trans movement is an attack on Christianity. So, if they charge a trans person, this woman who identifies as he and him, if they charge this person with a hate crime against Christianity, then that definitely will have some blowback for the rest of the trans community in hating Christianity, because she is representing them in her movements. She's just taking another approach. Apparently, transitioning from a woman to a man is not enough of an approach to tell God, yo, I don't trust you. You can kiss my butt. All right? You made a mistake when you made me. So, yeah, there's that. Nah, they took it a step further. They said, you know what? Let's see how we can go like physically hurt other Christians. Let's go directly to other Christians and physically do something to them. Sucks, man.
And it's not between race or political party. It's not even between religious affiliation. The divide is between people who think they are God and those who know they are not God. That is what the Nashville shooting was about. It's what virtually everything is about. That conflict exists because these two groups could not be more different. They will be forever at odds with one another, and they always have been. People who know they are not God are by definition restrained. They understand the limits of their own power and of their virtue. They appreciate the complexity of the world, which they freely admit they don't really understand because no human can fully understand it. They may not always be good people, but they are certainly less dangerous people, if only because their ambitions are limited by the acknowledgement of reality. Only God can do certain things, and they know they are not him. Now, people who think they are God are not like this at all. People who believe they're God have no natural limits because God has no limits, nor do they have any real concern for others. They are their own God. They worship themselves. In Freudian terms, they are narcissists, and narcissists admit no fault. They externalize everything. They always blame others. So not surprisingly, given this, transgenderists and their allies spent today attacking Christians just days after a transgenderist murdered Christian children. Here's Congresswoman Catherine Clark of Massachusetts on the House floor.
Layered in my pride is my concern for you. I know your strength, but I also know how determined the forces are that have pitted themselves against you. The politicians and preachers who would rather see you languish in a dark closet than watch you engage the world as you do, cultivating joy and love wherever you go. Let's reject the forces of opposition and bigotry. Let's celebrate the bravery and beauty of our trans community.
Yeah, a grown man putting on a thong and then going to a kids event and dancing for them for dollars is them showing some love and joy to the kids. Oh yeah, we need to stop standing against that, because that just makes us so hateful to not want to see a man dressed as a woman with doing little sexual dances around children because they're showing love to them. I'm sorry, but love, listen, y'all just need to stop saying a damn word because you don't know what it means. All right? That's not love. That's not love, nor is it joy. Give it another word. The same way you need to give trans women, you need to call trans women and not women, all right? Because they are not. Y'all made a new word. Keep that word. Run with that word. But don't try to take rights from women because you are trying to take over their spot. Okay? So the same way y'all changed the word for women to trans women, for the wannabes of women, make sure you change that love word, because this right here, this ain't no love.
Cultivating joy and love wherever you go. This in response to the murder of children by a self-described trans person. You're the victim, transgenderists, not the dead children in Nashville.
Would they much rather see y'all in closets, just wither away in closets? Why y'all in the closet any damn way? Why is that term even out? Like, is that the only place you can be gay? It's the only place you can be a trans is in the closet? Huh? Is that what that mean? Hide your trans. Hide your gaydom. Is that what that mean? Sorry if I'm coming off as insensitive, but I really want to understand this, because people are fighting the wrong fights, man. They really are, and they're taking the wrong sides in these fights.
And of course, virtually everyone in power in this country agreed. Amazon, the company, sent an email to its employees from its LGBTQ+ department, assuring its trans employees that they were affirmed and they were great people. No mention whatsoever of the dead children in Nashville. Their concern was the only concern. And then NBC News ran this headline, one of many like it. Tennessee's trans community's concerned because of the focus on the identity of the shooter. No update from NBC on how the Christian community in Nashville is doing, because who cares? They're just mortals. Their concerns aren't meaningful. Joe Biden certainly doesn't care. Watch him chuckle as he talks about Monday's massacre.
Yeah, this right here pissed me off, man.
You believe that Christians were targeted in a Nashville school shooting? You believe that Christians were targeted? I have no idea. Josh Hawley believes they were. What do you say to that? Well, I probably don't then. Probably don't.
Why is he smiling? Well, I probably don't then. Dude, why are you smiling? Why is this funny to you? What? See, that's what I'm talking about, man. It won't nobody check him on it. Not his people. They won't check him on this. This is ridiculous.
No, I have no idea.
People who believe their God will always turn their rage and frustration outward.
Hold on, time out, man. Y'all need to see this, bro, because what part of this, did somebody tell a joke or something when they asked him a question? They didn't tell him a joke.
You believe that Christians were targeted in a Nashville school shooting? You believe that Christians were targeted? I have no idea. Josh Hawley believes they were. What do you say to that? Well, I probably don't then.
Josh Hawley believes they were. And it was based off of a manifesto and the fact that they actually went into a Christian school. Come on, bro. And he started smiling. Then I probably don't then. Vote for Joe in 2024.
No, I have no idea.
The press secretary for the governor of Arizona, Katie Hobbs, someone called Jocelyn Berry, who was just resigned apparently, uploaded this photograph hours after the killing along with the message, "Us when we see transphobes."
What? Wow, I don't get it, man. A
woman with a gun in her hand, hours after a woman with a gun in her hand killed Christian children in Nashville. In other words, the Christians had it coming. Don't affirm our delusions, we will murder you. Again, this is someone who works for the moderate governor of Arizona, who beat the radical Kari Lake. And once again, this will continue and it will gather speed, because the more they are revealed, the more they double down. They can never admit they are wrong because they believe they are gods with the power to control nature. So once again, you should not be surprised at all that there is something called the Trans Day of Vengeance coming this weekend, planned by Antifa in Washington, D.C. It was originally called the Trans Day of Visibility, but the Trans Radical Activist Network, the organizers, decided to change the name just before the massacre in Nashville. Now it's a Trans Day of Vengeance. And they mean vengeance. Vengeance for what? That's not clear. They've been caught, and so they become more aggressive, as people who worship themselves always do. And you can see it all over social media, threatening images everywhere. One trans activist posted this message yesterday, quote, "Kill Christ cucks, behead Christ cucks, roundhouse kick a Christ cuck into the concrete, slam dunk a Christ cuck baby into the trash can."
What? Okay, what's a cuck? That's my question. What is a cuck? Because if they're against cucks, then I need to look up cuck. What's that? Maybe I need to stop saying the word until I find out what it is.
Attached to this post is an image of someone holding a rifle and wearing body armor. Now, you would think in a country supposedly as sensitive to violence as ours, run by an administration that wants to end gun violence, that the Justice Department would be all over this because they're terrified, of course, of groups with guns who are organized trying to upset the social order. But in this case, they're not terrified at all. They have no problem with this whatsoever. We called the DOJ today to ask, what are you doing about this? They didn't bother to get back to us. Meanwhile, the tech barons are, as always, making sure you don't even know what's happening. Twitter, which was supposed to be free, has banned several users, including a sitting member of Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Andy Ngo, Sean Davis, for mentioning the existence of the Trans Day of Vengeance.
Whoa. I'm sorry, what? Did he say Twitter? Yo, is Elon Musk still letting them block stupid stuff? Come on, Elon. I thought he was supposed to be righting the ship, fixing things. That's not righting the ship. If you say something about Trans Avengers Day, the Trans Avengers, or whatever they are, then you're getting blocked? Come on, bro.
You're not supposed to know what's coming. The head of trust at Twitter, a woman called Ella Irwin, is deliberately silencing reporting on this day of vengeance. Because again, it's coming, but you shouldn't be allowed to prepare for it.
Yo. This world is retarded.